how you get this one wrong. You put out a statement that Michael J. Fox is dead with a whole package remembering the life of Michael J. Fox. You freak everybody out because the man's a national treasure. Whether you like his politics or not, the guy's a national freaking treasure. Back to the Future, my childhood. Family Ties, hello. He's not dead. And they put out a thing that he's dead. CNN is the worst. It is, beyond fake news. It's so bad. It's so bad. And, I have no patience for these kind of journalistic, quote unquote, journalistic errors. Like, it's one thing to make a mistake, a factual mistake about a story, but to put out that somebody's dead is, you know what that is? That is trying to just be first out, and I have no use for that. None whatsoever. I take a lot of pride in the fact on this show, sometimes I don't talk about breaking news, and people will be in the YouTube chat being like, why aren't you mentioning this? Because I don't know anything about it yet. I want to wait and take my time and form my opinions so that I can give you the correct analysis of something. I'll give you an example. Last week, I was on the air and there's breaking news that a federal judge stopped the ballroom, Trump's ballroom. And people were like, why aren't you talking about this? Because there's nothing to talk about yet. It was a federal judge who put a 2-week stay on it so that they could hear arguments from the Trump administration. It was a nothing thing. It's a nothing thing. It's a process along the way in a court battle. I'm not going to stop the show and derail it over a stupid judge's order regarding a 2-week stay on the ballroom while lawyers will be writing other briefs to submit to another judge who's going to make another decision. My whole point is I'm so sick of these people that need to be first about everything. And they'll put out stuff and they don't care if it's right. They just want to be first and get the clicks and get the attention. And so even if they wind up having to be wrong, they're like, well, that's all right. That's no big deal. I don't do it that way. But dude, you can't just come out there and say somebody's dead. Okay. Especially Michael J. Fox, who has suffered with Parkinson's disease and has had very bad health. You can't just do that because that's an easy one to check. Is he dead or not dead? Like, there's possibly, you get egg prices wrong. You can get gas prices wrong. You could even get some of the stuff in the Iran war wrong. Like, is the Strait of Hormuz or ships passing through or not passing through? Easy to make that mistake. Okay, fine. I'll give you a little bit of grace on that. Either someone's dead or they're not dead. There's no gray area there. No, I mean, you could be like Pelosi and where it's debatable, obviously, but that's the one exception to that rule. So fair enough. I'll give you that. She's dead. Well, not really dead. She's immortal. That's an easy mistake. Everybody would forgive them for that one. Like, yeah, no, we've thought that too for the last 40 years and the 400
CNN
years
headline,
before that.
Nancy Pelosi still undead.
Still, that's actually the correct AP style handbook way to put it. Undead. So, and that's how it'll always be. That is the correct AP style book if you're looking for it. Here's what they put up. TMZ has this, and I'll show you the graphic of this from CNN. Remembering the life of actor Michael J. Fox. A CNN spokesperson telling TMZ, the package was published in error. We have removed it from our platforms and sent our apologies to Michael J. Fox and his family. It's like, hey, oops, sorry about that. Our bad for telling everybody you were dead. Oh, yeah. If I had $1 for every time that happened, though, we put out that a celebrity was dead when all we had to do was just check if he's dead or not. I guess that's it. That's all you have to do to verify that source. Hey, we got a tip for you. Like, how does that even go down? Somebody calls up the CNN tip line. I got a hot one for you. Michael J. Fox is dead. Guys, Michael J. Fox is dead. Run with it. Put out the package.
Should we call another source? Just hit send. You got to be first. You're not going to make it in this
you got to be first.
Kid.
Obviously,
also,
nobody would tell us he's dead if he wasn't dead. It's not like we'd see something fake on the internet. Everything on the internet's real. So obviously, if we saw it there, it's got to be real. He's dead.
I have to say, like, two recently deceased, Gene Hackman, Val Kilmer, right?
Yeah.
Neither one of them have a $1 billion foundation you could call. Like, Michael J. Fox runs the Fox Foundation to cure Parkinson's. Like, I'm certain you can get verification from them, right? Like, it's not like you have to figure out who the next of kin is. Like, he runs a $1 billion foundation with his wife. You can verify this.
Yeah, and he hasn't been hiding in a cabin in Montana in
yes.
like some sort of mountain militia man away off the grid and no way to reach him, and we haven't seen him in decades. And you know what I mean? Okay, if all those things were the case, maybe, but he's been pretty active.
He's on this season of Shrinking. He's on a TV show right now. Like that season's
maybe
not
you call the
yet.
people. Maybe you call the people at Apple TV and just say, "Hey, out of curiosity, have you recast his role on Shrinking?"
Oh no.
Everyone can take a deep breath. Michael J. Fox is alive. The beloved actor's representative tells TMZ, Michael's doing great. He was at Paley Fest yesterday. He was on stage and was giving interviews. So that's the other thing CNN could have done, was just Googled it and saw that he was on stage giving interviews and speaking at Paley Fest. They could have done that. That's another option they had in their disposal. Another tool in the toolbox. Uncertainty about Michael's well-being started after CNN shared an article and video titled Remembering the Life of Actor Michael J. Fox. There were no reports of his passing, and the post has since been taken down. He made a surprise appearance at Paley Fest in LA on Tuesday to join the wrap party for the third season of the comedy series Shrinking. It was at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles and included a special screening, followed by a conversation led by showrunner, co-creator Bill Lawrence, and co-creator and star Jason Segel, along with Harrison Ford. So here's all the people you could have called. Jason Segel, Harrison Ford, Jessica Williams, Krista Miller, Ted McGinley. You could have called Bill Lawrence. Everybody at Apple. You could have called Tim Cook. You could have called, I don't know, anyone who knows Michael J. Fox, which is like a billion people. As you know, his public appearances are few and far between, and he's taken a major step back from acting. So I guess their idea was, oh, well, if he goes on stage and speaks and takes questions, that obviously means he's going to die within 24 hours. So we should probably run with this story. What a bunch of freaking idiots over at CNN. Morons.
Do you think that they think if you get canceled on TV, you get canceled in real life? And that...
Wait, why? Was he canceled?
No, but his character, I think, is done this season. Maybe they think...
Oh, so if the character dies in TV, they think you die in real life? Like it's Nightmare on Elm Street. If you die in your dreams, you're dead in real life?
Maybe they think... Maybe the intern today was like, okay, let me just check the box. Strait of Hormuz story. We're going to push that. Michael J. Fox is dead. And, oh, Trump holding a presser tomorrow. Okay. Great first day, guys. I'm doing great.
Heck of a job, Brownie. Michael J. Fox mocks CNN after network's death tribute mistakes. CNN apologized, blah, 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 blah. And then this is what he said. How do you react when you turn on TV and CNN is reporting your death? He wrote on Threads. Do you A, switch to MSNBC or whatever they are calling themselves these days? B, pour scalding hot water on your lap. If it hurts, you're fine. C, call your wife. Hopefully she's concerned but reassuring. D, relax. They do this once every year. Or E, ask yourself, WTF. So good for Michael J. Fox. I thought the world was ending, but apparently it's just me and I'm okay, he concluded. Love, Mike. According to Entertainment Weekly, the package that was shared across the network's various sites featured interview excerpts and clips of Fox's work throughout the years. He came into our living rooms on the small screen each week as Alex P. Keaton on Family Ties, and eventually onto the big screen as Marty McFly in Back to the Future. This is in the clip, according to a narrator. But Michael J. Fox had a compelling third act as Parkinson's sufferer and stem cell research advocate. His most lasting role may have been as a tireless voice against Parkinson's, a performance the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Science honored, blah, 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 blah. In a statement to Entertainment Weekly, a spokesperson for CNN apologized to Fox and his family for the blunder. The package was published in error. We have removed it from our platforms and sent our apologies and a fruit basket to Michael J. Fox and his family. Well, I think if there's ever a time to send a fruit basket, it's now. What's the one they have with they cut out all the fruit into the fancy little shapes and sizes and everything like that? Edible arrangements. I think it's time for an edible arrangement. They're not a sponsor of the show, but that's probably a good thing. It's like, and then you open up the card. It's like, Michael, we're so sorry we reported on your death and did a whole package on it. Please enjoy the fruit. Compliments of us. Love, CNN. P.S. Will there be a Back to the Future 5?
Do you think Edible Arrangements has like Get Better Soon, Sympathy, Birthday, Sorry I Misreported Your Death on National Television, and Thinking of You? Like they've got like a basket for that?
I think they do. Yeah. You open it up and the fruit is just, it says oops, like it's shaped in oops with pineapple, strawberry, various things. Our bad.
Congrats,
We
you're still
went
alive.
ahead and reported your death. Got that one wrong. Our bad. But please enjoy this fresh pineapple.
Rich,
so there you go. That's
but
the
seriously, if this should be the case for any death of any high profile person, you should have to like ask somebody, right? Like the idea that you could just accidentally send that out, like it's like, hey, when reporting all deaths, just make sure your manager knows. That seems like a reasonable
as
thing.
an internal policy.
Yes,
like before you hit publish on the famous actor dead story with the package and everything else. Maybe ask somebody, like maybe check with somebody else and be like, hey, Jimmy, Michael J. Fox is dead, right? But maybe Jimmy's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to lunch. All right, well, that's good enough for me. Click send. Boom, there you go. This couldn't come at a worse time for CNN, of course, obviously, as everybody is mocking them and roasting them over. And now they're going to be potentially affected by the giant merger of Warner Brothers and the takeover of Warner Brothers by a friend of Trump's, and they're all freaking out at CNN about the demise of CNN. This doesn't help for CNN. Like when you're thinking about going in and making changes at CNN, you're like, let's look at a couple factors here. The ratings, not great. Their ability to hold an audience in prime time, beaten nightly by the Food Network. Again, not great. Misreporting the death of one of America's most beloved actors. File that in the not great category for keeping things the way they are at CNN.
Does anybody know why our trust scores keep going down? It's just the damnedest thing.
You know who's loving this right now? Don Lemon. Don Lemon's got to be loving this. Well, there you go. CNN. If you're wondering why people call them fake news, I guess now you have one more reason to go with that. That is the big story of the hour, brought to you by our buddy Dr. Mike Veneria, VeneriaDental.com. Go see him today for your perfect smile. 2 locations to serve you in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. Dr. Mike is a great guy and a great friend, and I would highly recommend that you reach out to him today. VeneriaDental.com. So instead of Franco still dead, we'll do Michael J. Fox still not dead for the rest of the show today, and wish him and his family the best as they cope with CNN's fake news nonsense. I don't even know where to begin. There's a lot of crazy stuff today in the news, but one of the things I want to really kind of dive in here is what is happening on the national level. Like, we know that there's a ceasefire with Iran that's very shaky ground right now, the Strait of Hormuz. Depending on when you're listening to this, the ceasefire could be over. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but the latest is this. Iran is basically shaking everybody down for money. They want $1 million in crypto for safe passage. Ships may or may not be passing through the Strait of Hormuz. There's a lot of back and forth on this. J.D. Vance has been dispatched to go head up the peace talks. He's on his way to Pakistan for this, or he might be there by now. That's where things stand. This is all very shaky and subject to change at any moment's time. So in the meantime, while we still have a ceasefire in place, even though that does not include, by the way, Lebanon and Israel. So Israel and Lebanon are still fighting. So that's all going on. And so there's rockets flying back and forth, Beirut and Israel and all that. But that's kind of like the lesser part of all this. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's not affected by the ceasefire with the United States and Iran, which is nuts. And I didn't know that until yesterday. I was talking to my buddy, Dr. Victoria Coates, about that. And I said, but explain this to me, because rockets keep flying into Israel. And she said, well, Lebanon and Israel are not part of this. So they're free to still fight. So if you keep hearing stories about air raids in Israel and sirens and everything like that, doesn't necessarily affect this. The thing we're looking for from the United States perspective, at least if we decide to, whether to blow up their civilization or not, is the Strait of Hormuz being open. And Iran is still shaking everybody down, apparently, for crypto money. So, and China is still helping Iran by buying their oil, and that's all happening right now as we speak as well. The other Middle Eastern countries, they're pissed, man. They are. They're pissed because their numbers are down for tourism. Like, this is spring break right now, and I know it sounds crazy to think about, but this time last year, they were making billions of dollars, Middle Eastern countries, from people in Europe and America too, who were going to the Middle East on vacation. It sounds nuts, but they were going to Six Flags, and they were going to all these different theme parks, and they were going to UAE, and they were going to Dubai, and they were going to, and they're not now. Their tourism numbers have fallen off a cliff. They're pissed. Qatar is turning around and saying to Iran, hey, you owe us for all the damage from the rocket fires. So there's that whole mess that's going on over there. But for right now, the ceasefire is holding for the moment. So I want to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is censorship and free speech. And what I'm really worried about is politicians using the Meta lawsuit and the Google lawsuit to start cracking down on our free speech. And I want you to really think about this for a second. I really do. I want you to think about this because I have said for years, and if you've been listening to me for years, thank you. If you're new to the show, new to the podcast, whatever it is, thank you. And please subscribe and take a minute to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. I would appreciate it very, very much. I have said for a long time, I think one of the things that conservatives do wrong is they fall for the C word. I don't mean Jennifer Newsom. I mean the other C word. I mean the children or China too. Like, we'll give up our freedom if you say either children or China. We're like, all right, whatever it is, like, whatever you want. What do you want? What do you want me to do? I'll give away my liberty and take it. And we went through this with terrorism after 9/11. And for years, I was one of the, and I'm proud to say this, I mean, I was one of the voices on the radio back then saying, like, we shouldn't be spying on American citizens. We shouldn't be tracking their phone calls and their metadata and doing all this stuff. And I still remember one of my first phone calls on WPHT back then was from a guy who was like, what do you want to get blown up by a terrorist, Rich? And I was like, some days, but not today. I'm just saying, I think this is going to come back and bite us one day. Fast forward to when we see the power of the government amassed and went after Donald Trump when he was running for president, and they were spying his campaign. And then we became the terrorists, and then they started spying on all of us. And so we've all kind of collectively agreed that it was a bad idea to give up our liberty in the name of keeping us safe from terrorists. And we've now, in hindsight, you can't find anybody who at the time thought that was a good idea. Trust me, there were lots of them who thought it was a really good idea. There's a clip, I'm not going to say who, because I would like to be back on their network, but of a host on a network who was going on about how important it is for the government to spy on us because of terrorism. And then there's a clip of him going on about how terrible it is, the government spying on us because of terrorism. Like, literally saying the exact opposite thing that he said. I pride myself on consistency. But now that we're in this new era of social media, and we've been hearing horrible, I mean, they're terrible stories. You know, parents to talk about their child taking their own life because of just terrible things said on Instagram. And as parents, we worry about our kids being online and all this stuff. So there are people who are opportunists in government in Washington who say, you know what, this is a great time for us to clamp down on freedom and liberty so that we can exercise more control over the American people and that we can have more access to their information, because there's nothing that terrifies people in government more than freedom. They don't like it. Historically around the world, if you look through history, you'll find that in regimes, they're not big on people being free. Our country's been different, and why we've made it 250 years is because our people are free, and that's the thing. But we always have to battle bureaucrats who want to control everything. And they'll stop at nothing to control everything. Even if it means trying to take down a president, they'll do that too. George Will wrote a piece, and I know that you may hate George Will for his positions on Trump, but it doesn't matter. This is a great piece he wrote. The verdict against Meta and Google carries sinister implications. Diluting democracy's foundational belief in individual agency opens a door to government overreach. The most sinister idea in modern politics has received a California jury's endorsement and much applause. It contradicts democracy's foundational belief in individual agency. The concept presupposes that individuals can, in common parlance, make up their minds. They can assemble and edit their beliefs and convictions. When this idea is diluted, government expands its ambition to curate the public's consciousness. As Congress did when banning Chinese-owned TikTok, ostensibly for national security reasons, for the first time, Congress targeted a specific speech forum because of conjectural harms that might result from what a congressional committee called divisive narratives. Now, in California's case, they weighed the claims of a now 20-year-old woman who was using YouTube at 6 and Instagram at 9. And she says she's developed all these emotional problems and all these other things. Now, as a parent, I would say the fact that she was able to be on YouTube at 6 and Instagram at 9 speaks to probably major family problems in the household, because my kids are not on those platforms. We won't let them be. But she wasn't allowed. That was not allowed to be part of the trial. So that component of it was not able to be part of the case. It was literally just whether or not these platforms messed with her emotionally, and the jury said yes. They said that Meta and Google were negligent and deliberate in designing algorithms and other devices that make the platforms addictive. Now, there's lots of things that are addictive. There's lots of things that are addictive. And this question of what is addiction. So they talk about social media survivors of social media, which sounds insane to me. And it sounds, we went through this whole area of this time we talked about the snowflake generation, how you couldn't say certain words because they were snowflakes and they'd be harmed and they'd be hurt and like their precious feelings and everything. Now we're going through this social media survivor generation where we're going to have all these people now stepping forward who think, I'm a survivor. I made it through the horrible times of being online on social media, and they were there to hook me, and I got hooked, and I'm depressed, and I suck at my job and my family life and all these things, and it's their fault. So again, we've taken individual responsibility completely out of the equation. So it's not that maybe you are a freaking mess and you should get your S together. No, it's Google's fault, it's Meta's fault, it's Instagram's fault, it's somebody else's fault. So we're back to that now. Like, we got away from that for a while. We got away from this idea that we would start blaming all these other people for our lot in life. And they have a social media victims law center. That's not a joke. That's a real thing. The Social Media Victims Law Center. And you know that the lawyers always win. So there are lawyers now hunting down their next cases. And these companies obviously have really deep pockets, which lawyers love, obviously. And they go, and you'll see it. You'll start seeing the commercials. You're like, were you harmed by social media? Did you develop a body issue because you were shamed on Instagram, or because you saw pictures of women on Instagram, or whatever it is? And college students now are demanding safe spaces to protect them from being triggered by the trauma of microaggressions. And we went through that phase too, and that's back now. We have college students now turning around and saying that freedom of speech needs to be controlled because there's too much of it. That hate speech needs to be banned because hate speech is hurtful. Misinformation needs to be banned, all these things. And then what they do is they turn around and they go, oh, this is like gambling, which is, last time I checked, is legal. This is like cigarettes, which last time I checked is legal. They turn around, they go, this is like sex, which last time I checked is also legal. And they turn around and they say, these companies develop these things so that they could be so addictive to people, like food. Well, food's addictive. I mean, yeah. And they go, well, sugar's addictive. Okay, so what becomes the answer? Should we ban sugar? Do we ban social media algorithms? Do we ban these companies? Do we ban gambling? Do we ban alcohol? Do we ban everything that's bad for us? What do we do? How do we do it? So what we do is we say with the children, we start with moral panic. And this is not new. This is not new. Those who understand comic books, like if my buddy, my Marvel and DC advisor, Brian Glass, is listening, Brian knows the time in the 1950s when there was a scare about comic books. There was a book that was published back then called Seduction of the Innocent, the influence of comic books on today's youth. And they went after Batman and Robin and others. And they said that there was too much violence in all these things, and there were too much sexual innuendos in things like the Archie comics. And so what they wound up doing was they had to come up with a comic book standard so that the comic books could be less violent and less sexy. And that was a thing for a long time. And they had like the comic book Ministry of Truth. It's a real thing. They did. And then if you wonder why, for a while, a lot of that stuff got goofy and why Superman started to become government propaganda, it's because the government stepped in and said they wanted this comic book standard, and they started policing this stuff. And then they started sponsoring this stuff, like the Superman show and Batman and Robin. They were sponsored by the government, and the government started controlling the messaging of these shows. I kid you not. Days after the California jury reached its social media verdict, the New Civil Liberties Alliance reached a settlement concerning the federal government, the Biden administration's attempts, often successful, to suppress what it called misinformation about the coronavirus pandemic. Much of the speech that they tried to suppress was true. All the speech was constitutionally protected. It is prudent to assume that the government, under whichever party, will remain determined to curate the internet for the purpose of social control. But now what we're doing with the addiction and the harms leads us to a story that I told you about the other day, which is on the federal level is Congressman Josh Gottheimer, who wants a age verification, a national age verification standard to keep anyone who's under 16 years of age from being online and seeing things. So what I'd like you to do is a little thought exercise with me for a second, all right? When you're thinking about the kids, and I have 3, so I'm acutely aware of this. I'm very much aware of this. When you think about protecting our children, think about what the government will do in the name of protecting the children to limit your ability to protect your children. Here's what I mean by that. We know when COVID happened, for example, that masking kids was wrong and stupid. I had to go and get a mask exemption for my daughter. But if I posted about that on social media, the Biden administration was saying that I was killing people. You remember when Joe Biden came out to Facebook and said, "You're killing people"? And I would be deplatformed, or they would put a context thing or whatever it was if I said those things. If I said kids weren't getting COVID, and kids weren't getting COVID. We know that kids weren't getting COVID. They weren't dying of COVID. And if they got it, they were asymptomatic, and they weren't, I mean, it wasn't even a thing. So, but if you said that, that was considered to be misinformation. So as you think about the children, I want you to think about this. Did your kids or your grandkids suffer harm from schools being closed? Did your children suffer harm from not being able to be in a classroom, or being in sports, or being at camps, or playing with their friends, or doing all those things? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, then when the government comes out and says to protect the children, we're going to limit speech, we're going to police speech, we're going to do any of those things, ask yourself how they could then in the future hurt your children by taking down speech that says our kids should be outside during a pandemic, our kids should be playing sports in a pandemic, schools should be open in a pandemic. It's ridiculous that kids are being forced to wear masks during a pandemic. It's ridiculous that kids might be forced to take a vaccine during a pandemic that is an untested vaccine that we don't know what harms it could cause, or if that vaccine is showing that in young men, in particular young, healthy men, causing heart problems, that vaccine is being banned in Europe because of the fact that it's causing heart problems in healthy young men. See, all those things would be taken down in the name of protecting the children. So you see how easy it is for your children to actually suffer when the government gets involved in the name of protecting the children? Then I want you to think about this. There is a wonderful piece that I read in the Wall Street Journal recently about this. But before I tell you about that, as it was a great piece, I want to tell you about our wonderful sponsor, because we have to make sure that we thank them for their incredible support of this show, which is all about freedom of speech, obviously. And that is Tri-County Toyota and Tri-County Auto, because it's Tri-County Auto time, baby. What if your next truck took you further for less, as in less money? Right now at Tri-County Toyota, you can get up to 24 miles per gallon on a new 2025 Toyota Tacoma SR5 when you finance it for only 2.99% APR, including their Tri-County for Life guarantee. Go farther, spend less, love every mile. Visit them at 15 D&L Drive in Royersford or online at tricountytoyota.com. We were just there with the kids over the weekend. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I know you say have fun at a car dealership, but they had hot dogs and popcorn for the kids and a playroom for the kids, and they took great care of us. Jack Donaldson, the general manager, hell of a guy. Brian Krieger, Cheryl Krieger, my great friends. They love our veterans. They love us, and they'll give you an amazing deal. And they also have Tri-County Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Great specials there. So I drive a Jeep Wrangler. We're about to be a true Tri-County family. I've got a Jeep Wrangler. Our next family car is going to be a Toyota. Made in the United States of America, by the way. I looked at the thing, the final production USA. Toyota. Awesome, right? It's great. So tricounty.com, tricounty.com. This piece that was written, which I want you to think about here, and I think it's about the children again, how we've always gone through this notion of protecting the children, the timeless fear of corrupting the youth. It was written by Jacob Mchangama and Jeff Kossoff, and if I may not be pronouncing that correctly, and if that's the case, then I apologize for that. Jacob is the executive director of the Future of Free Speech. Jeff is a non-resident senior fellow at the Future of Free Speech. They are the authors of the forthcoming book, The Future of Free Speech, Reversing the Global Decline of Democracy's Most Essential Freedom. And the basic premise of the article begins with a guy that I had never heard of before, Socrates. His name was Socrates. He was put on trial. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? Nothing?
Might be another mispronunciation, Rich.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? Nothing?
You had a quote?
Come on.
Movie from 1988?
But it's Keanu Reeves' finest moment.
It's a low bar to be Keanu Reeves' finest moment.
So Socrates, fine, whatever, was put on trial, you sticklers, before a jury of some 500 of his fellow Athenians. The indictment accused him of impiety and added, Socrates is also guilty of corrupting the youth. Despite the Athenian democracy's commitment to free and equal speech, Socrates was found guilty and sentenced to death. 2.5 millennia later, democracies are still deeply concerned about dangerous ideas corrupting the youth. This time, the target isn't dangerous philosophy, but an increase in teen mental health issues blamed on social media. Over the past year, a global tsunami of laws and bills has been enacted or proposed to ban minors from social media platforms or require age verification for accessing certain types of content. This week, a Los Angeles jury delivered a $6 million verdict against Google and Meta. And as in ancient Athens, those most vocal about the need to protect children from corrupting influences insist that such drastic measures constitute a defense of free speech rather than an attack on democratic values. And there's a professor named Jonathan Haidt. You might have heard of him. He wrote a book called The Anxious Generation. He's been one of the biggest advocates of this idea that social media is just destroying our children and we need to have age verification and all these other things. But a 2024 review of the scientific literature by a committee at the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine has found that despite some potential harms, the review did not support the conclusion that social media causes changes in adolescent health at the population level. A 2026 longitudinal study in the Journal of Public Health reached a similar conclusion. But even if we accept the verdict that social media is the cause of rising teen mental health harms, the case for age gating focuses primarily on the harms while discounting any benefits of social media for children. Like, for example, the National Academies of Science reports that for a lot of young people who are coping with serious illness or mental health problems or bereavement, actually social media is a positive for them because it lets them connect with people and connect with their family members and connect with like their cousins. Like my son, for example, he and his cousins, they have a group chat and they chat away. And I think it's great. They send pictures of when they're on vacation, and also opportunities for learning and developing interests. The idea of comparing social media to tobacco is questionable. The scientific consensus on smoking's harms, we all get that. Smoking is bad. It's not good for you. If it was, I would light up right now, but it's not. Although a cigar every now and then, just saying. You know what I mean? Just saying. But the idea that social media is smoking, that's an opinion. The idea that it's as bad as smoking, that's an opinion, that's not a fact. I think it's a fact that smoking's bad, but it's not a fact that social media is bad. Social media can be bad. But this is where I get into this whole idea of, we have abdicated individual responsibility. So we've said, I'm going to blame somebody else for my problems in life. It used to be this group over here. Now it's this group over here. I'm going to, as a parent, abdicate my responsibility in my children's lives, and I'm going to turn over their devices will now be the babysitter, and I'm not going to be involved in my kids' lives. So if my kids do go down a rabbit hole, I'm not going to blame myself for being a shitty parent. I'm going to blame the social media companies because it's easier. It's easier for me. Oh, listen, after a long day of prepping for this podcast and doing my podcast and doing all the various media hits and everything, it's a lot easier for me just to say to my son, here's a phone, go to your thing and leave me alone. But I don't do that because I'm a good parent. I want to be a good parent. I'm not a perfect parent. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But there was a time we used to blame, it was comic books. Then it was movies. Then it was video games. Remember that? The great video game scare? And then if there was a school shooting, what do? We turned around and we either blamed the gun or we blamed the video game. It's like, well, if these kids weren't playing these violent video games and watching these violent movies, we wouldn't have school shootings. What? And that was stupid because I grew up watching violent movies and playing violent video games, and I grew up around guns, and I've never shot up a school. So, or shot anyone for that matter. So maybe it's not that. Like maybe it's the person, maybe it's the individual. But as a society, we love to blame. We love to blame something else. And then people in government love to take advantage of that and go, ooh, this is our chance. We can pass that hate speech code like they did in the UK. And they can lock you up if you say things that are hurtful and mean, or you say things that are misinformation. So if you were to say, for example, that boys can't become girls and it's a bad idea to let Johnny chop his junk off, then that's hate speech. That's misinformation. You don't think there's bureaucrats just waiting to clamp down on that? Do you not remember what they did after January 6th? How they started banning people's social media accounts, following people on social media, looking at what they said. Do you forget what they did to us during COVID? Do you forget the way that they went after misinformation and disinformation? Do you forget the fact that as the Electronic Frontier Foundation has reported, subreddit communities on topics from LGBTQ plus issues, reporting on the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza, public health, all these other things, blocked for unverified users, including adults who wanted to discuss these topics while remaining anonymous. So that's the next thing, is that you might be right now online posting your thoughts and posting your opinions, and you love the idea of anonymity. And the Supreme Court has supported the right to you being anonymous, just like those wacky founders were way back when the country was founded in 1935. Jared, help me out with this again.
37.
36.
30.
37.
38. 38.
37. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm not good at math. I know it's your 250th birthday, but I'm not good with math. So, trying to figure that one out. So 1776. Okay, 1776. My bad. Thank you. Got you. Thank you for clarifying that. Which was Nancy Pelosi's junior year.
That's her third junior year.
That was actually, she was a freshman member of Congress back then.
Good for her.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, women, they've come along the same way, actually. They've not come anywhere. They've been in the house the whole time. Still
undead and still looks exactly the same.
Honestly, you would think she'd get bored of politics after 249 years, but no. She's still going strong.
Somehow she keeps going. It's amazing. The founders wrote the Federalist Papers using anonymous names like Publius, for example, and the Supreme Court has ruled that you have a right to anonymity, finding that the First Amendment protects anonymous speech since anonymous pamphlets, leaflets, brochures, and even books have played an important role in the progress of mankind. Age verification laws would risk corroding that progress in having people to submit identifying data in exchange for the ability to express themselves. Courts have ruled that children have First Amendment rights as well. In blocking an Ohio law, a U.S. District Court ruled that conditioning minors' social media participation on parental consent is an impermissible curtailment of their First Amendment rights. Now, if you're a conservative, you might say to yourself, but wait a second, they're only kids. Okay, let me pose this to you. There's a liberal teacher in class going on about how America was founded in slavery, white supremacy, the patriarchy. The founders, they didn't care about liberty and freedom. All they cared about was just being able to make more money by enslaving people and blah, blah, blah. And kid stands up in class and goes, actually there was this whole abolitionist movement and the Constitution was created to eventually cause the end of slavery. And then the 3/5 compromise was actually created by the abolitionists to make sure that the southern states did not have more seats in the House, thereby gaining more power in the House, thereby perpetuating slavery. So actually, it wasn't that they thought black people were 3/5 of a person. It was a compromise to ensure that southern racists didn't have more seats in the House. That kid gets detention. That kid gets suspended. Everything that kid just said is right, but the school doesn't like what the kid said. So, the reason why you have places like PragerU and these other places is so that young people can express their conservative ideas and learn conservative opinions, and that speech can be protected. So I would love if everybody could just tone down the panic a little bit, because it's getting so bad out there. There was about to be an event with Steven Crowder at the University of Pennsylvania, and it's now been canceled. And, I like Crowder a lot. Louder with Crowder. You might have heard of him. Steven Crowder is a very funny guy. The latest update is this. The event has been canceled. We officially announced it just a few minutes ago on this morning's show. We're looking forward to rescheduling Professor Zimmerman and hopefully still making the event happen. It was going to be his first event in 10 years in the making, where he was going to debate a professor in his Change My Mind series. Here's a little bit about what Crowder said about what the event was going to be.
This has been 10 years in the making. This has been 10 schools unofficially called out with $10,000. Not up for grabs, just a gift, because Change My Mind was always designed to highlight the failures of professors. We finally found a willing participant after people came forward with absurd terms like at Harvard and other schools. We walked you through that last week. Discussion was going to be about free speech, where it stands, and who is actively trying to kill it. Obviously, at the risk of showing my cards here, I think that if you want to preserve freedom of speech, you have to fight the institutionalized left.
Yes.
Because part of my opening statements, which weren't fully formed, is that wherever the left achieves power, free speech dies. Wherever freedom of speech thrives, the left dies. And so that's why they try to control the playing field. They try to control the narrative.
Now, this has been a thing that universities have done for a long time, which is that they use what is called a Heckler's veto. They say, we don't want this controversial speaker on our campus because we can't guarantee their safety. We know this with Charlie Kirk. And Crowder was doing this Change My Mind stuff, and he wanted to debate this professor. And for 10 years, this was in the making, but they wouldn't allow the event to be live streamed. Why? People would go in person, but Crowder's people said we want the event to be live streamed so everybody could see it, everybody could watch it, everybody could see this debate. UPenn said, no, we're not going to allow that. So the event was canceled. And they did it so that they could cancel the event because these colleges don't want these controversial speakers. You know why? Because the students don't want them. Like, free speech started at Berkeley. That was the birthplace of the free speech movement during the 60s. And back then it was free speech because people were criticizing the Vietnam War and they were getting in trouble for it. And so in the late 60s, early 70s at Berkeley, the free speech movement was born. Fast forward to years later, when I actually went out to Berkeley, California, because Ann Coulter and Milo Yiannopoulos were set to speak, and the University of Berkeley canceled the event because they said we can't guarantee their safety. So I went out there and did my show there in a show of support, and Ann Coulter blew me off, but whatever, that's not the point. I mean, that's, the point is that while the left for years has been cracking down on freedom of speech under the guise of hate speech and misinformation, and Nina Jankowicz was going to have the disinformation board, and there's, and then now, unfortunately, there are too many people who are conservatives who are jumping on the bandwagon because of the C word, the children, and they are signing up for things. And Republican governors like DeSantis and others are passing these age verification laws. And they're saying that you can't be online until you're 16. So they're making the government the role of the parent, and they're feeding a mindset to our youth, which is that censorship is okay. That yes, you have to be protected from speech. See what they're doing? They don't realize they're doing it because they think they're doing the right thing. They think they're helping. They think they're protecting the children. And if you support this, you may think that too. You may think you're protecting the children by supporting things like age verification laws, but what you're actually doing is you're sending a message to the kids. What's out there online is scary. You might be exposed to information that's scary, and we have to protect you from it. So you're creating a mindset by which, by the time they get to an age where they start hearing about things like hate speech laws, misinformation laws, disinformation boards, Ministry of Truth, they're conditioned to it. They're conditioned to believe that these things are necessary because they grew up believing that there's all this bad stuff out there. Mean words, wrong ideas. So suddenly now when they see that somebody has been either vanished online for, say, their ideas that fossil fuels don't cause climate change, or they see that somebody's been taken down online for saying that men can't be women, or they see that somebody was deplatformed for saying that masks don't work, they're okay with that because they were told that there are mean and scary and hurtful and wrong things said online. So yeah, no, the government has to police all that stuff. And then if people have to go to jail for it too, that's okay because there's a lot of mean, scary stuff out there. See, the way to destroy freedom of speech is not me and you, it's through the kids. If you prime the youth to believe that speech really shouldn't be free, that there should be restrictions, that the government really should have guardrails about what they can see and what they can say, you will get an entire generation that will one day be in charge and will accept that and say, we need to have lots of limits on the First Amendment. That's how you destroy the First Amendment. That's how you destroy freedom of speech. That's how you do it. There has to be a better way than age verification laws because you have a right to be anonymous. You have a right to trash your government. You have a right to disagree with these tyrants when they start imposing their edicts on you during pandemics. You have a right to speak out against these lunatics with their ideas about the fact that boys should be able to go into girls' locker rooms. Like, you have a right to say all those things and do it anonymously. And don't think for a second your anonymity is going to be protected by some program that some Silicon Valley company is going to make. And don't think for a second that those companies, which make billions of dollars with government contracts, won't easily turn that information over in a nanosecond if it means preserving their contracts. Like, you'd have to be insane to think that if Amazon tomorrow came up with an age verification thing, that Jeff Bezos wouldn't find a way to accidentally send that information over to the government if it meant keeping one of his many billion-dollar contracts with the Defense Department, or Department of War, excuse me. So there has to be a better way. I mean, there has to be, because we are going down such a dangerous road. And if you want to, say, criticize the Canadian Prime Minister, Leah Gazin, for this insanity of what she's saying online, you will be locked up in certain countries. Like in England and Canada, like, this is considered hate speech, but criticizing this woman for being a wacko. I'm going to play this for you in a second. You have to hear this. You've never heard anything like this before. This is so insane. This is the craziest thing. They've taken the LGBTQ++IA, every letter of the alphabet, plus numerical symbol, and now they've added stuff to it. But you can't believe what they've added. But first, let me tell you about Emmons Roofing and Siding, my great friends over there. This winter weather has been brutal on your home, so if you're looking for a contractor that can help you with repairs during this time, or maybe you want to get a jump on renovations, Emmons delivers protection, peace of mind, and true craftsmanship. That's why Emmons is my go-to contractor for roofing, windows, and siding, and they have a new bathroom division. Emmons doesn't just make your home look great, it makes it stunning from the curb, energy efficient, secure, and ready to withstand the elements. You get top quality materials, the finest craftsmanship in the area, and American-made roofing products. That's right, the Owens Corning shingle made in Kearney, New Jersey, and you'll get a lifetime warranty on that from my great friends over at Emmons. So reach out to them today by going to emmonsroofing.com. They'll even do kitchen and bathroom remodeling. They remodeled our kids' bathroom, did a phenomenal job on it. I love the work they do, and they will make you very happy, and that work is guaranteed, okay? emmonsroofing.com, and tell them I sent you. So, just when you thought it couldn't get crazier, this Canadian Prime Minister said...
MP.
Oh, thank you. Member of Parliament. Thank you. I don't want to elevate her.
Not yet.
Not yet. Although she's on the track, given how Justin Trudeau is able to get there, she's definitely on the fast track for Prime Minister Jared. All right, let's take a listen.
They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. Indigenous women, girls, 2S LGBTQIA+, are not safe. In fact, rates of violence are increasing. Are the lives, safety, security, and dignity not in the national interest of Indigenous women and girls, 2S LGBTQIA+?
Okay, so, all right. So, MMIWG2SLGBTQIA+ stands for...
You missed one. There's two Qs now.
There's two Qs now.
There's two Qs. Come on, Rich.
Well, I'm reading what you wrote on the sheet, so you missed it.
Well, maybe I got it wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe there's one Q.
Okay,
I'm so sorry. Misinformation again.
All right, so let's try this again. MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+. Did I leave anything out?
I feel pretty good. I think you nailed it.
Think I nailed it? So let's go through what all that means, shall we? Okay. Now, we know what the WG, that's women, girls. We talked a couple weeks ago, the 2S, which we found out is two-spirit people. The L, lesbian. I mean, that's boring. G, gay. Duh. B, bisexual. Like, that's so 1980s. T, trans. Got that. Q, queer. The other Q, questioning. Okay. I, intersex. A is asexual. So like a starfish.
I don't know the difference between I and A, if I was being real.
Okay. And then plus, we know what a plus sign means. That means it's like everything else.
Right, because Rich, on the screen here, those letters didn't cover it all. So we needed, for the other things, the plus to include what is not represented.
Okay, so now you're wondering, like we all are, what the MMI stands for. And wait for it, it stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous. Let me say that again. So if we say the whole acronym, it is Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, Two-Spirit People, Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, Questioning, Intersex, Asexual, plus. Got it? Okay, now that you know, let's hear it one more time, shall we?
They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW, G2S, LGBTQIA+. Indigenous women, girls, 2S.
I don't think you can say it that fast, Rich. I don't think you can. I don't think anybody can keep up with her. I mean,
props for nailing it, like on the first take. I mean, like
honestly, she's got this down.
LGBTQIA+ are not safe. In fact, rates of violence are increasing. Are the lives, safety, security, and dignity not in the national interest of Indigenous women and girls 2S LGBTQIA+?
Credit.
I feel like at this point you go plus, and then whatever letters of the alphabet and whatever number, whatever symbol, like you add all of those things in there, all of them. Just add at that moment everything.
Can I, as a, I'm going to call it an ally. That's what they call us. As an ally.
Yes, you're an ally.
Thank you,
yes.
Thank you. Can we just say plus? We all know what it means. We're like, why do we have to keep adding can we just say the plus community wants to know about, right? Can we make that plus expand as an umbrella to incorporate all of the other letters? The plus community doesn't feel represented. We are not getting enough funding for the plus community. Can we just...
I'm going to disagree with you. And I'm going to tell you why you are such a hateful and hurtful bastard.
I'm an ally.
No, you're not. You're racist, Jared, because math is racist, and the plus symbol is a math symbol. So you are a racist bastard, is what you are.
Wow.
Okay.
Cut me.
Well, you know math is racist. We talked about this. So why are we even using a racist symbol is my question. We need something other than the plus symbol.
That's a symbol of the oppressor. That's a patriarchal symbol. I've always said that.
That's a I've long said that. And plus, I have dyscalculia. So I'm offended by the plus sign.
First
because
of all,
I don't know if I'm supposed to.
Don't say plus you have dyscalculia. Don't use the word. It's a hateful word. You're barking it at me.
Well, should I add D? We should add D in there for plus dyslexic and dyscalculia.
There's plenty of D.
There's no D. I don't see a D. Where's the D?
It's in the G part. That's fine.
No, that's not. You can't do that. You can't say the G is part of the Q part. You need a D or a G.
I was trying to make a different joke about the D. That's fine, Rich. It's okay that you didn't come with me.
Whoa, okay, easy now. I was with you, actually. You just didn't get that I was with you.
Okay.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women. I mean, that is freaking cryptic and dark, man.
Yeah.
Also, if I'm a missing and murdered person, I didn't get my consent to be on this list, right? Because I'm dead.
I mean,
right?
Why are you getting lumped into sexual orientation?
I don't know.
That's terrible.
When did that become a thing? Like now we're like dead gay people.
Wild.
It's really wild. I mean, this might be a sign. Is she punking us? Is it possible this whole thing is a joke? No, right? No.
She says it too fast.
They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW, G2S, LGBTQIA+.
Too fast.
Sounds like a bad Star Wars character, doesn't it? She's mad because they cut $7 billion from the Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations budget. That's why she's upset. So no, it's real. Do you think that it's like $1 billion for every letter? No, that doesn't. Again, no. I'm not a math guy, but no. Like half a million per letter. Maybe that's why they keep heading letters and symbols, because they can get an extra
funding ploy.
You know, if we had murdered and missing, we can get like another 2 million out of this, right?
Does she have to practice that? She must, right? In front of a mirror? She must.
Have to.
Big.
Damn it, I forgot the second cue again.
Got to have somebody there next to you. It's like, one more time. Run it again. Missed a cue.
It just rolls off the tongue. And also lawns are racist. And lawns are racist and they're based in white supremacy. I didn't know that, but I'm going to stop cutting my grass now. I just needed an excuse to stop cutting my grass, so this is fine with me. I'll stop doing that. Or maybe I'll just is napalm still a thing? How do I get rid of my lawn? Is that a thing?
I don't think you can use that.
I was watching Apocalypse Now the other day. That's a great movie, by the way. Have you seen it in a while?
No, I saw it during the pandemic, I think, because I was watching everything I could find.
It was really good.
Yeah, he's Brando's just premier. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Martin Sheen, top of his game.
Absolutely.
You know what's not good is The Rip, and I'm mad at you for recommending that.
We don't have time to talk about it, but you're wrong. That's fine.
You're wrong. When you get back from Japan, we're going to talk about this.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You're lucky you're going on vacation, because I'll probably forget by the time you get back.
Hey, where are the white women at?
I can't stop thinking about how grass lawns are racist and based in white supremacy. If that doesn't make sense, that's okay, I guess. It seems really obvious to me. It's really upsetting. Bring back weeds. Bring back clover yards. Look, can anything just be okay in its natural state, or do we just have to whitewash everything, make it a competition, and use it as a sign of your worth as a human being in society? Can we just have weeds?
Do black people not have grass? I missed the memo here on this. I really missed the memo.
So, okay. Firstly, I don't agree. I agree a tiny bit, right? Why do we need to have this thing that requires water just to? But I don't. I agree with that. How did we get to white supremacy?
So you're saying you agree with the idea that maybe we're overdoing it with the lawn, the lush, thick green grass, and all that stuff.
Unless they would like to sponsor the program, yes, I agree. Natural Lawn wants to come back. I have a
Natural Lawn wants to come back. I was going to say we would love to have them back as a sponsor, but exactly. Totally different. We're lush, thick green lawn, but until then, it's a symbol of white supremacy and the patriarchy. All right. So there you go. And it sounds like she needs lots of weeds, kind that are prescribed by psychiatrists and mental institutions.
Good Lord.
All right, well, that's the show, and hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, keep it to yourself, honestly. No, I just spit. Look at that. I got I just spit all over myself. Wow. Nothing like a live show, huh?
Looks great now. I like it.
Like it better now?
Yep.
The Hawk Tua girl hasn't been around in a while. All right, that's it. Have a great rest of your day. Please subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, and thank you for listening.
I can't stop thinking about how grass lawns are racist and based in white supremacy.
Let's go.